Welcome to the Top Weirdest YouTube channel. In this video we are going to talk about the top 10 weirdest movies of all time. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to Top Weirdest YouTube channel for future updates. Who doesn't enjoy a film that is completely strange and unfathomable every now and then? Fortunately, the cinematic world has presented us with a plethora of bizarre flicks. We whittled them down to the strangest of the strange. From legendary directors like David Lynch and Harmony Korine to underground indie filmmakers, some of the world's oddest films have been made by creatives all over the world. Some are ancient, while others are new, and some have been hits while others have been flops. They're all worth viewing at least once, especially if you're looking for some unusual creative ideas. Some of these flicks are strange enough to make you think, while others are just plain violent and repulsive. If you want to watch one of the gory ones, we recommend skipping the popcorn. Prepare yourself for the 10 weirdest movies of all time by being aware of certain spoilers ahead. Number 10. Eraserhead. Many regard David Lynch to be the founder of modern weird cinema, and he has numerous films on this list, beginning with Eraserhead, a surrealist body horror film released in 1977. If we ever made a crazy television program, Twin Peaks, one of his masterpieces, would be at the top of the list. Blue Velvet, Rabbits, Fire Walk with Me, and Mulholland Drive are among his other strange films. The man in the planet pulls some levers in space, while the head of a Henry Spencer, played by Jack Nance, floats above the clouds in Eraserhead. A sperm monster floats away from his mouth. A strong start to a strange film. Many scenes in the film, which has a very loose structure, are regarded unpleasant and distressing, the most renowned of which is Henry Spencer's baby's terrible appearance. The film is known for its exact use of sound and oral environment, but it also features a lot of body horror and nightmare aspects. Number 9. Gummo. Spring Breakers and Mr. Lonely director Harmony Korine is known for his unconventional films. Gummo is the director's most well-known and strange film. This 1997 art drama film featured an oddly eclectic ensemble, including a teenaged Chloe Sevigny. The story takes place in the slum town of Xenia, Ohio, after it was devastated by a tornado. The story chronicles the lives of numerous persons and has a general subject. The key story point is their destructive and bizarre ways of dealing with boredom. There are other vignettes of other village residents throughout the film. The characters range from strange to downright evil. Bunny Boy is a deafeningly cute mute kid with pink bunny ears and no shirt. Tumblr is a deranged adolescent who enjoys killing kittens and huffing glue. There's also a skinhead, a child molester, a tennis star with ADD, and a man who pimps out his sister. Drug abuse, mental illness, poverty, and racism are among the topics addressed in the film. Number 8. Videodrome. David Cronenberg directed this 1983 Canadian science fiction picture with body horror aspects, which stars a young James Woods and Debbie Harry, of Blondie fame. The story is set in Canada in the 1980s. A broadcast signal exhibiting severe frightening violence and gore is discovered by Max Woods, the chief executive officer and producer of a television network. He becomes fascinated with locating the source of the signal, and he becomes entangled in a vast deception including mind control. While everything is going on, Max is having increasingly weird and violent hallucinations. The narrative has a lot of levels to it, and there are a number of extremely unsettling sequences. Number 7. Naked Lunch. This 1991 science fiction play is based on William S. Burroughs' considerably wilder, and more spectacular, novel of the same name, as well as excerpts from his earlier writings. The film was co-produced by filmmakers from the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Japan. The end result was a bizarre, nasty, and slightly amusing film. The adaptation was directed by David Cronenberg, who also directed Videodrome. So far, he's the weirdest director frontrunner. Naked Lunch tells the story of William Lee, a pest control technician whose wife abuses his insecticide as a recreational drug. After a game of William Tell, he hallucinates numerous alien-like and roach-like monsters and accidentally murders his wife. To avoid being charged with murder, he flees to a place known as Interzone. He comes across doppelgangers, horrible mutations, and other oddities there. Many characters are modeled on famous beat writers like Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg, and the plot is partially based on genuine events that Burroughs experienced as a heroin user. Number 6. Funky Forest, The First Contact. If you're looking for a clear and crisp story, skip this 2005 Japanese odd comedy film. The film is without a doubt one of the strangest films ever made. Rinko Kikuchi from Pacific Rim, and Tabanobu Asano from Ichi the Killer were among the surprising major names in the cast. The film explores the lives of several characters, including an audiophile, a guitarist, a portly white lad, and an indifferent girl, who all wind up being connected in some way. Sequences of two men in white suits debating in front of an audience are mixed together with animated scenes. The first half of the film is rather moderate but unusual, whereas the second half of the film practically immediately after the interval catapults you into WTF City. In Japan and around the world, Funky Forest, The First Contact has a cult following, with screenshots of the video becoming memes on various image boards and social media. The film is freely accessible on the internet and is well worth seeing at least once. But be warned, the film 2-hour and 30-minute runtime is no joke, and the directors even added a halfway through intermission counter. Number 5. Cat Soup. Tatsuo Sato directed this experimental Japanese surrealist animation film, which was released in 2001. The film is based on Nekojiru's manga artwork. Nyako and her brother Nyata, two anthropomorphic kittens, embark on a voyage to the underworld and back in cat soup. A bodhisattva steals half of Nyako's soul, and while she is still alive, she is in an empty, catatonic state. The two kitties travel to the land of the dead to reclaim the second half of Nyako's soul, using clues left by the bodhisattva. A big penguin full of weather, a cat-eating psychopath, and an elephant formed of water are among the bizarre individuals they meet. Cat Soup was awarded an Excellence Prize at the Japan Media Arts Festival in 2001, as well as a Best Short Film Award at the Fantasia Festival in 2001. The film was well received in Japan, although it is still relatively unknown outside of the country. It's well worth the effort to find. Number 4. Rubber. This independent dark comedy horror film from 2010 may not be the best ever made, but it does have an interesting premise. A tire develops awareness, and begins killing people with its telepathic abilities. Are you convinced yet? Rubber is an English-language French film directed by Quentin Dupieux. A tire named Robert comes to life in the film, which is set in the 1990s, and eventually learns how to get up and roll. Robert goes on a murdering spree through the California desert after discovering that it can crush little things by running them over, and kill huge things with some type of psychokinetic power. Rubber features a cast of fascinating characters, including a fourth-wall-breaking sheriff and a deadly accountant. Number 3. The Holy Mountain. Strange films have a long history, and this 1973 picture is regarded as a vintage classic. Alejandro Jodorowsky wrote, directed, produced, composed, and edited The Holy Mountain, a Mexican-American surreal fantasy film. Oh, and he also has a role in the movie. Several characters based on tarot cards and astrological signs go on a spiritual transformation, quest led by an alchemist in the Holy Mountain. The film's imagery is raunchy, artistic, and unsettling. The film is based on René Daumel's Mount Analog and John of the Cross's ascent of Mount Carmel. Because Daumel died before completing Mount Analog, Jodorowsky had to make up the ending. The film's surreal imagery and art direction were lauded. Number 2. Mulholland Drive. Mulholland Drive, a great American neo-noir mystery thriller from 2001, is the second David Lynch film on our list. This film stars Justin Theroux and Naomi Watts and has a very obscure plot. The film was planned to be a television pilot, but after television executives turned it down, Lynch decided to make it into a feature picture. An aspiring actress, Watts, arrives at her aunt's house in Los Angeles in Mulholland Drive. She encounters an amnesiac woman who has been hiding in the flat and assists her in regaining her identity. There are other vignettes that connect throughout the film, as well as dark and scary scenes. Number 1. Society. Brian Usner's gruesome American horror film from 1989 is a journey from start to finish. Usner had previously worked on the H.P. Lovecraft adaptation Reanimator, which was a charming film in the same vein as Society. Bill, an affluent high school student, is the focus of Society. Bill visits a therapist, after hearing a tape of what appears to be a violent orgy between his family members. The therapist plays the tape, but what comes out are his family's typical sounds and noises. The first tape was real, according to a friend of Bill's, and the boy who provided it to him was found dead. What follows appears to be some sort of plot, but it gradually devolves into a bizarre nightmare filled with stunning gore and mutating orgies. Society has been acclaimed for its amazing makeup and special effects, as well as for being stupid but strangely brilliant, and great mix for a campy picture. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.